Paul Side, they're a long-time member and a long-time tyer, is going to tie a very cool little nymph. And Paul has had lots of experience and lots of fishing all over out west, Midwest. You never meet.
Wherever area code 618 is.
Oh, it's about your insurance. They need to talk to you.
Car warranty?
Yeah, the warranty.
Get that aside. Gonna turn off my phone too. Forget that. Coming back to. All right, Paul. Take it away.
Won't give another in a row. This is a fly I originally found a few years back. One of my trips to Colorado. I don't tie it, the fly was actually designed by Ken Morrish. And what's kind of neat about it is it's black on the back and wire on the front, or the end of it. This here is the commercial tie of the original. You can kind of see I've changed a few things. They have horns in the front. Personally, I don't think those really matter. They kind of get in the way when you're tying them anyway. He used crystal flash for the back and the legs. Commercially, this fly is tied to size 12 to 18. And this looks fine on the bigger ones. But when you're trying to tie them smaller, the crystal flash is kind of too big. And then because it's so short, they don't really wiggle. So what I found was if you use Shaggy for the legs, this stuff is the same stuff as Light Flex, but it's just a whole lot skinnier. It's got a lot more movement to it. The way I tie this, I only put on a tungsten bead. I don't add extra weight. I have other mayflies or stoneflies that are considerably heavier. This one looks very similar to it, but this one actually has 3 beads on it. This thing sinks like a rock. It's 1 tungsten bead and 2 brass beads with 3 tungstens on there to pull anything down. This was actually one of my best flies in Wyoming this year. We were fishing them mostly under stuff. This is one of my favorite patterns. It's Amy's Ant. There's one that's a little bit smaller. But the best fly I had with it this year was it's a regular chubby. But the one that really worked was this one. This is a stubby chubby. It's on a size 12 hook that Umpqua came out with called a stubby T hook. It's got a wider gap, but it's nice and short. I don't know if they see this thing as a beetle or as a small hopper, but this will still not pull this down, which was kind of surprising. I thought it might, because this is very, very small. But anyways, we're gonna get started. Change the keepers. Okay, the hook we're going to use is a Daiichi 1710. It's the same as 5262, and that is a 7/64 tungsten bead. I'm going to use wood duck, but yellow also works. You're not really going to see it in the end result. Okay, we'll try and be a little fancy. We'll see how many of them. We'll try and put these tails in together. There's a couple tricks to putting in the tails together. lot of times when people are tying with biots, they're looking at the notches. On this fly, you can just cut the notches off and it makes it easier to maneuver them. And want to put them opposed. If you lick your fingers a little bit, what you can do is, well, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but just by moving your fingers around, you can manipulate them to even up the,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
to even up the ends. And then when you measure the length, just by rolling your fingers in and out, you can adjust the length. I want to go about half the length of the hook of the shank. We'll get that transferred to my other hand. And then I'm going to put one biot on each side of the hook and I'm going to rotate it towards me so the thread torque will bring it back up straight. And you can manipulate them a little bit, keeping them straight by making sure that one stays in on each side of the hook. And just wrap it down. Next thing we're going to put on is a piece of wire. You don't want to cut yourself short on the wire. You're going to need a good 8-9 inch piece of wire. We're going to tie the wire in on the back side of the, on the far side of the hook. Bring that all the way down.
Yeah, without missing stairs.
Okay. Ken Morrish's pattern, he used crystal flash for the back. We're going to use 1/8" scud back. It's actually easier to tie the back in with it because you don't have a whole bunch of pieces of crystal flash. And one thing that's kind of neat about it is it stretches. So as it stretches, it gets narrower. So you can use it for several different sizes of fly. You want to kind of keep that centered as you wrap it down. And as with most wired body flies, you want to keep your underbody as smooth as you can. Now the fun part. We're going to wrap and kind of weave this scud back in. So the first wrap, I'm going to stretch this back so I can get this wire right at where my last thread wrap was. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap 4 times and then fold the scud back over it. Avoiding any gaps. Okay, there's my 4th wrap. Now I'm going to take the scud back. I'm going to stretch it and pull it to the near side of the hook, which will give me a stripe on the back. Then I'm going to fold it back, stretch it again, and go 4 more wraps. And then just keep repeating that up the hook shank. The material spring. I start with a fairly long piece of wire. I only have a few inches left. Just helicopter that off. Done. Over it for 1 and 2. That off. And now you got copper wire on the bottom and black on the back on the top. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in the wing case. This is just turkey tail that I treated with Dave's flexement so that it doesn't split apart. Work my thread back a little bit. It doesn't matter which way you tie this because we're going to be folding this back and you're going to actually see both sides of it. Now we're going to take our first pair of legs. And the first pair we want to slant straight back. I'm just going to work that under the thread. Pull the leg down for the far side. Then pull the near side down. For dubbing, we're using also Possum in Golden Stone. You can really use any golden stone dubbing you want. And this doesn't take a whole lot of dubbing. Okay, now we're gonna fold the wing case over. And then lash that all the way down to behind the bead. We're gonna get our thread so it's about in the middle of the space that's left. And the last two pairs of legs, we're gonna tie in. And tie in the one side and then the other. Now we're gonna go back to our dubbing. Okay, I have a little bit of dubbing left, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend this back over. And I'm gonna use the little bit of dubbing I have left to hold down the wing case. Need a little bit more. Gonna be a pain in the butt tonight. Now we're gonna just throw a whip finish in it. And this, we'll cut this so it's just a little bit shorter than the first one. And then these things taper. So what I'll do is I'll save this for a smaller fly. And now the front forelegs, you gotta be careful trimming these, because if you stretch them, they end up too short. So I'm gonna take the front forelegs. Just hold them out in front. Trim all four of those just a little bit short or longer than the hook eye. And then the back two legs, I'm gonna take got about halfway down the tail. And there the fly is done.
Yeah, it is nice. Thanks, Bob.
It goes spread apart a little bit. But like I said, it's a very effective fly. You can fish it as a yellow Sally, or the bigger sizes. The fish will take it for a golden stone.